Hey, everybody, welcome into another episode of the Personal Privilege Podcast. I'm Chris Sanchez, joined as always by my partners at Sailing Strategies, Destin Cox and Andrew Cates. And joining us this morning, you know him as a state representative from Brownsville. It's State Representative Eddie Lucio III. Representative, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm not in Capitol attire compliance, but I figured since we're home, we'll be comfortable. Good to be with you all.
I tell you, that's probably been the best part about being at home so much is I've worn a suit once in the past 9 months. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it's also dangerous because I've been wearing a lot of workout clothes. I just had to put on a suit recently. I'm like, ooh, this is tighter than I thought it'd be. I got to start working out a little harder. Get ready.
It feels a little bit like a straitjacket now when you put it on.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
So the holidays are coming up. Christmas is just a couple of weeks away. Are there any particular family traditions that you're very fond of?
Man, I don't know. Have you ever seen the show Deck the Halls, like Matthew Broderick, and like all the traditions, like everything's a tradition? That's like my house. Like we have traditions with cookies. We make gingerbread houses. Every movie's our favorite holiday movie, right? We have Elf on the Shelf. Now we have pets for our elves on the shelves. Like, yeah, we're big. We had our Christmas decorations out a week before Thanksgiving because we needed something this year to, change it up from just being stuck in our house every day. So yeah, we're cool. We're all in Christmas to the max.
What's your favorite Christmas movie? How about that? So there's a lot of them to choose from. Some really great ones. What's your favorite though?
Without question, A Christmas Story. They have that 24-hour marathon. Daddy's Gonna Kill Ralphie. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I love that movie. It's my favorite. And I watch it, from 7 p.m. Christmas Eve until the next day, like 10 times back to back.
Yeah, that's one of my pop's favorite movies. We got him the Shade with the leg a couple years ago as a gag gift for Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got this really cool Nutcracker. It's a Christmas Story themed Nutcracker, and it's my new favorite Christmas decoration.
So is there a particular Christmas recipe or anything food related to the holidays that you're really fond of as well?
We change it up. My wife and I both like to cook. I try not to do a turkey for Christmas because we just did it for Thanksgiving. My mother-in-law is an incredible cook. I love going to her house because my father-in-law is a hunter, so it's usually some type of wild game that they serve. But not necessarily. I love tamales around Christmas. Being from South Texas, we have a place called Delia's Tamales, local spot. Not so local. They ship all over the world now. They're a big deal. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she was the one that got us all together. She would make menudo and all sorts of great things. On Christmas Eve was at the Lucio's, and I had 50 plus first cousins. I had these incredible memories growing up. My dad's one of 10. Everybody got together, but this generation's moved. We got people all over the country. We just don't do that anymore. So it's a little smaller these days, but we're making our own traditions, our own memories. My kids are all right. They're going to be okay.
I think you just described my family too. I got like 60 or 70 cousins as well. And you're right. We kind of drift away because everyone's got their own thing to do now. But man, when at grandma's house and you had 70 to 80 people hanging out and on that property, whew, got a little toasty in there sometimes.
Oh man, it was awesome. Yeah.
So you're keeping it in family. Your dad is actually the state senator down there. What's it like working closely with your dad at such an important level?
We are both pretty busy. In addition to being in the legislature, both of us have our own careers. I ran for office 2 months after graduating from law school. I hadn't even known if I passed the bar yet. So I went from having a lot of fun in law school, especially your third year. I knew I wasn't in the running to being at the top of my class. So I just had fun. Was a young 20-year-old, and overnight I had to grow up and, met my wife my final semester. That got real serious real fast. We got married in less than 9 months. So I got busy being a young husband, a young lawyer, and an elected official all within a 6-month period. So a lot of folks think like, Dad and I are always conferring on what we're going to do and what politics or what issues we're going to work on. Frankly, we hardly see each other. I wish we got to work more. But the times we do see each other and when it is important, big issues, we do confer, and it's great. My dad dreamed of me being a professional golfer my entire childhood. That's what I thought I was going to do, right? And I chased that dream for over a decade. And when I went to law school, dad's not a lawyer. We kind of disconnected. And as soon as I showed interest in politics, it was like back being in that, golf mentality, trying to, have something to relate to. But he's a great guy. He's chilled out a lot. He was a real strict parent growing up, super, super, super strict, militant. But as soon as I gave him grandchildren, he liked me a lot more. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
My family, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I can do no wrong. And then the man who spanked me for thinking about doing bad things, not even doing them, just thinking about it, tells me don't touch my grandchildren. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who are you?
Well, I will say, it's funny hearing the other side of this, because we did one of these with your dad, and we talked for a while. I'll tell you, it's funny because he did mention golf a lot, and being really into golf, and how
his Knickerbocker game is strong.
Yeah. But I will say, for everything you just said, he is exceedingly proud of you. And it came across very, very clearly when we talked to him.
Sure did.
So I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I love doing these things, right? And I listen to podcasts daily, audiobooks, YouTube channels, everything, right? When I'm running, I'm listening to some type of content. And it was interesting. Joe Rogan said how this generation they're soft, right? They're just really soft. Like, I had challenges. I had expectations. It was daily grind because I knew my parents expected a lot of me. It also made me a little guarded from the relationship. I didn't have a friendship with my dad until I was much older. Well, my kids, they have everything. Like, they don't have the pressures I had, even though they think they do. I don't know what that end result's going to be, right? So, like Joe Rogan, he's like, man, I had a horrible childhood, but it made me work hard and have ambition and have goals. My kids have a great childhood. I hope they can still get to that end goal. So for those of us who are, kind of taking it to that next level from the way we raise our children, or maybe we give them better opportunities, I hope that they still grow up with those same values that we did,
So you mentioned it yourself, you were pretty young when you came to the Capitol. What was it like your first couple sessions as such a young guy? I can't imagine being that young and in that environment.
The only thing that sucks about it now is that no one thinks I'm young anymore, and it's glaring, right? Because the first 2, 3, maybe even 4 sessions, they would ask me, well, how old are you? Are you even old enough to serve? Man, no one's asked me that forever. I have gray in my beard, gray in my hair. And so, there was an excitement to it, being the youngest member in the legislature for, I think, 2 or 3 sessions back then. I was 28 when I got sworn in. And there have been younger members, like Patrick Rose is still one of my dearest friends. He was like 21 when he got sworn in, maybe 22. But at the time when I came in, I was the youngest member. And, you're excited about it. You think that brings value, but you also have to gain people's respects because you are young, right? You're going up to, I think one of you said you worked with Jimmy Don, right? Like, you go up to a Jimmy Don Aycock and he has kids older than you. And how do you earn his respect that you're serious? So from the moment I came into the legislature, I didn't party, I didn't drink, I didn't go out. I'd go work and then I'd go work out, if I went to a dinner, I have a very strict regimen. I don't drink. I got an hour. I don't want to spend 2.5 hours with you. No offense. I have a family at home. My wife's grinding it out with kids, and I don't want her to think that I'm just out there enjoying these great meals. If I know those are important, that's where we solidify, get to know each other, all that stuff. But that's work for me. I want to go to my apartment, work on my businesses, get caught up with whatever it is I'm doing. And I want to hit the gym or whatever. So I always took the challenge of being young in a way that I had to prove I was serious and I was committed to this process. I had to be on time. I had to be prepared. And not that I don't feel that anymore, but no one looks at me now as, oh man, how much do you really know at your age? Like, they look at me now as, you better know some stuff. And so anyway, that's kind of my experience being young and in the process.
Did you did you always kind of have that swagger style that you've got now, or did that come with time in the Capitol? Because you dress, I mean, look, I mean, you dress well, and you break up the stuffy style that a lot of the people at the Capitol have.
So I always liked fashion. If you know, my dad actually is a very sharp dresser. He's just conservative until he plays golf, and then he wears knickers. Right. My dad's a 75-year-old Hispanic man who is not Payne Stewart waistline, but he's still wearing knickers. So dad always had shine shoes. His hair was always in place. His suits were always starched. I always had that. And he always cared that I dressed well or looked clean. I can't wear an untucked shirt, baggy, anything. My mom actually worked at Dillard's for many years when I was a kid. And so she grinded it out. That's a tough job in retail, right? Working holidays, weekends, late nights. But she got great discounts. So we had nice clothes. But it was something I always liked. But I didn't always get it right. Just because you like fashion doesn't mean you're good at it. And with time, I started to get a little better appreciation for, patterns and colors and all those things. But yeah, I don't want to show up in a navy blue suit every day. I think I'd go crazy. And so it's interesting, I talk about content and all these podcasts I listen to. If you think of some of the highest performing people in the world, they wear the same thing every day. And as much as I want to be the best at what I do, and I really do, and I want to be that intentional, I don't want to do that. Like I like,
Yeah, I can't go black turtleneck every day.
Hell no, man. White t-shirts, nah, it's not gonna work.
Well, so you're pretty. I mean, you mentioned, you want to get your work done and go to the gym. You want to do this and you want to go to the gym. I mean, I feel like, I don't know everybody at the Capitol, but I feel like at least from the members, there are few and far between members that are, serious. I want to go hit the gym. No, I don't want to go out drinking. I want to go hit the gym. Do you have other member workout buddies? And then I want to get into Orange Theory too.
The one member that I had a history with, and we would always talk about our workouts. Well, there's two, but one more than the other is Jose Menendez when he was in the House. And there were times where he was real serious, right? I also started the Capitol Wellness Club, and we were on this track of running in the mornings, yogas in the afternoons. I host the member football game. Been doing that the last 7 sessions, now my 8th session. So when I came, it was funny because when I came into the legislature in 2007, I already had a history of working out. And I was thought maybe people thought like me, and I was kind of ignorant that 99% of them didn't. They thought I was weird for, wanting to start a wellness club. Oh, Lucio, like who has time to work out? Now, some of those same members are now telling me, hey, I got my steps in, or, I played tennis yesterday, or I swam, or I lost weight. I lost 25 pounds in the interim. So when we first started in the late 2000s, it just wasn't as culturally accepted or almost, required. Now people feel pressured into working out because that's what culture expects of you. So it's changed a lot. Dennis Bonin is also a guy that started to work out a lot. And then, Dr. Bonin is a runner, and we would talk about our split times and all that stuff. And Dennis and I actually built a member gym. We have a member gym in the Reagan building. Very few people know that. He paid for it out of his own pocket, and we got great equipment in there. So we have a member gym, but it's really like me and 2 other people.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. When I was there at the Capitol, the staff was trying to lobby the members to try and get some sort of gym or facility put in. And that's right around the same time your wellness came in as an alternative because the state was in a budget, constraint at the time. So that's fascinating.
If we had the space, I would expand it just to be able to say, let's get staff in there as well. I think part of it is we're so concerned with public perception, right? Like if we spend a single state dollar on something like that, what are people going to think?
Sure.
I always said, look, if we're healthy, we're going to be making clearer, better decisions in the process. Like, I don't think it's irresponsible to have a place for folks to go and exercise. Like, I donated the biggest colonia, poorest community in the state of Texas is, half a mile from where I live. And they have a community center there. And I donated the gym equipment for that community center. It's something I'm passionate about. So, I try to make sure everyone has access to either parks or gym equipment or something. So I don't think it's irresponsible of us, but we didn't spend any state money to do it. So he and I designed it. Another member helped build it, and he bought the equipment. So
that's awesome.
I'm a different person if I'm not exercising.
There's data to support it, health and wellness, and bringing that into the the performance levels in terms of employee relationship. They're out the roof when you create that safe space, and then they feel comfortable being able to work. Am I bouncing out again?
I got you. No, I got you. You're absolutely right. My okay. If I travel and I have a guy, if I have a guy travel with me, they know to bring workout clothes, right? He's like, damn, I'm traveling with the boss. I better take my gym bag, right? And it's about discipline, look, I don't love working out. Like, that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is watch my favorite show and eat Cheetos. That's what I want to do. But I know that if I put in the work, it makes me feel good about myself. And that I'm chasing the feeling. I'm not chasing the experience.
Yeah, I mean, for myself personally, after the 17th session, I destroyed my body. I mean, I was just sitting at the desk for 18 hours a day, eating terribly all day, every day. And I was in the worst shape of my life. And it affected my mental health, affected my emotional health. So then after last session, I was up to like 160, just all fat. I decided, all right, that's it. I'm getting back in the gym, getting back in the fitness. I'm down to like 140. I'm down to like 14% body fat. I mean, I feel the best I've felt since probably college, quite frankly, because it's all connected. If you feel better about yourself, you work out, you go out and you get that feeling, like you said, it really does affect the work that you're producing in your personal life. It's amazing how that happens, but it's true.
Absolutely, buddy. I'm glad. Good for you. Proud of you.
Yeah, I feel like I have grown to love being sore. And I like that. I like it a lot. It's nice. So kind of going back to Orange Theory, you're super serious about your workouts, enough so that you now own an Orange Theory franchise. So I've never been to an Orange Theory. I've heard from tons of people about them. But just for anybody else like me, what's it like at an Orange Theory as compared to like a big box gym, like a Lifetime or Gold's or whatever?
So Orange Theory is class-based. It's not an open gym concept. It's limited capacity. So what we say is you're getting the feel of a personal trainer, but in a group setting. What made Orange Theory as popular and successful as it is, I think, is our technology and, the means by which we roll out the workout. So we're heart rate based. We wear heart rate monitors, track and display your heart rate during the workout, so you see and can determine how hard to push yourself and whether you're working out safely. We also were the first, I think, and maybe really the only one to implement treadmills in a group class setting, right? That's not easy to do. I mean, there are a lot of group classes, not a lot of treadmills in group classes. So we interval train on that treadmill. Purpose is to spike your heart rate, high calorie burn, allow you to recover, and do that multiple times. Science shows that actually that interval training is more effective than, a steady, smooth run at the same pace. And that's frankly where you can break through plateaus for performance and weight loss and everything else. It was just a great platform. When I knew as a lawyer that I was part of a team helping businessmen and businesses get wealthier, get bigger, get more successful. And I was like, man, I don't want to be the guy doing that for them. I want to be the guy, right? I want to be the business that's making money and growing. And so we took a big leap of faith, my wife and I, and frankly, we went to Orange Theory and they're like, Brownsville, Texas, Harlingen, Texas, that's not the market we want to be in. So they told me no. many times, but I'm pretty persistent, which is why my wife finally married me. And I went to them and said, look, your future is to diversify the type of markets you're in. You have to diversify. I'm telling you, here's my plan. I'm not just going to open my doors and expect people to come to me. I'm going to develop an all out guerrilla marketing campaign and bring people in. And that's what we did. We set some sales records for our company. And we set the model, I think, in some ways, to show that there are second tier markets that you can have a very successful Orange Theory franchise. So even though I only own two, because of the success and the intention that we run our business, we've been recruited to serve on our several franchisee committees with the Orange Theory brand, and then just really grew to love the franchise small business model. So we've invested in more brands, and 2020, we decided to triple down, if not more, our footprint or our portfolio of small businesses, and we're really working the hardest we ever have to grow in the small business world.
I think your latest endeavor is actually a pizza joint. Is that right?
Yeah. So as much as I like working out, I also love food, right? And I love balance. So here I am. We own Orange Theory. It was going great. We were successful in challenging markets, if you want to call it that. So 2019, I can't grow within Orange Theory. I was kind of late to the dance. All the markets were sold out. All the locations were basically sold out. They wanted me to move to Mexico and, be the master franchisee in Mexico. And I was like, man, I don't know about that. I love Texas. I love what I'm doing. I love where my kids are at. So I decided to look elsewhere. And we ran across a med spa brand. And we love that industry. It has a similar growth curve that the fitness industry had leading up to COVID. And we bought 8 units of a med spa concept that we're now back developing in Austin. We hope to sign our first lease this week. But the same owners of that med spa brand, they're diversified, own this emerging pizza brand. So here I am, I'm re-engaging post-COVID, let's say June, July, in the med spa business. And I'm like, okay, I want people to feel good about themselves and of doing these, cosmetic things, non-surgical, non-invasive cosmetic things can do that. Wonderful, right? People feel good. They look good. They treat people better. It's an extension of what I was doing in fitness, right? And wellness. But then the owner of the company calls me and says, hey, I got this pizza brand. I'm like, pizza, man? I mean, I like pizza, but I don't know if I can be passionate about pizza. He's like, let me tell you about the brand. So he educated me about how they make their pizzas, how they're operating their company, the integrity that they're doing it. And they already have a foundation. They're doing great things with charity, with the Arbor Foundation. And then their philosophy on how pizza brings people together and, families together. And I'm thinking, yeah, pizza nights with my family are usually a lot of fun, right? And so they sold me, and the numbers are great. They grew 25% the first 2 quarters of 2020. COVID was good for good operators in the QSR, quick service restaurant category. And they rode that wave, and, they're growing, and I expect them to be 200 units by the end of 2021.
It's interesting. It sounds like you're double down during COVID. I mean, because honestly, doubling down into the cosmetic, non-surgical med spa area during COVID, when everybody shut down non-essential, non-required, non-medical emergency procedures, is bold. But it also kind of sounds like very similar to what like Southwest Airlines is doing. I mean, just like, all right, there's no travel right now. Cool. We're going to spread out into other markets when everybody else is kind of huddling up. And it sounds like same sort of thing. It's paying off.
I don't like standing still. I feel like if I'm not growing, I'm dying, and I'm not ready to ring the bell yet. So I just did not like the silence. I like the silence for the first 6 weeks, right? First 6 weeks, we're watching movies. I got caught up on all the TV shows. We're making 3 meals a day, working out 3 times a day. Everything was cool. And then after the 6 week, I'm like, okay, that was cool. That was a moment in time I will cherish forever, but it's time to get moving again. I want to build something, not just make money. I want to build something substantial that I can pass on to my kids. So I started to say, or buy into the philosophy that while everyone is circling the wagons, getting back on their heels, waiting to see what happens, I need to be doing twice as much, throwing big passes, swinging for the fences. So that's what we did, and I'm glad that if it wasn't for that, like you say, being bold, I wouldn't have had the conversations. I wouldn't have met the pizza brands and realized there's more people like me than you would think. So we got some investors together, and they're like, "All right, Lucio, let's go. Let's see what happens." And we have 20 units for the pizza franchise in Austin, 20 units in Dallas. We're looking to close Houston soon, and then another 10 for the med spa in Central Texas. So right now, 50 locations under contract with, maybe another 20 to 25 by the end of the year.
I did have one other question. I know we've pretty much exhausted the ones on the list, but you mentioned earlier how voraciously you listen to podcasts and listen to. It sounds like almost motivational type people and go into leadership seminars and stuff like that. So who are kind of your favorite go-tos in the leadership motivational space, I guess I would call it?
Yeah, I want to back up just a second. I was coming off of a session. This was probably 2013. I was coming off of a session and actually doing great financially, lawyer, but I didn't like what I was doing, but money was coming in, and I had a really good session. We had done some great stuff with UTRGV and the medical school and all that. And we're on vacation, and I'm with my wife and my kids. And I remember just like feeling this void and just being a little down. And my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't know. Like, I feel like things are just happening to me and I don't have control. It's just organic. My growth is organic. The law firm's organic. Politics is organic. I don't have a focus." And she said, "Well, what do you want to do about it?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not the type to go and see like a therapist or a psychologist or whatever." I said, "Let's go to the bookstore." So I bought my first like self-help book, I called it, right? Business book, whatever you may call it. And it was a Darren Hardy book. And then I was like, I read it and I just devoured it. And then I was like, okay, well, what else is out there? And then Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, John Maxwell. There's just, I didn't realize that this whole subject matter existed. And then podcasts and, I like Tim Ferriss a lot. He was kind of the first real podcaster, right? And his podcasts now are like 2.5 hours long. I'm like, damn, man, that's a lot to devour. But then the School of Greatness, his name, Lewis Howes. And then you have people that are their guests on their show, so you start to break out. And so I forget this other guy. Thomas is his last name. JT. Everybody calls him JT, and he's a great speaker, motivational speaker. If you look at like best motivational video of all time, his pops up, and he's talking to this group of high school students, and it just pumps you up. But there's a lot of great content lately. I've been listening to. I don't want to get it wrong, and I'm of course drawing a blank right when you tell me what are your favorite podcasts. But his name, I want to say his name is Mike. No, Ed Milet. Ed Milet podcast. I highly, highly, highly recommend. He is Milet's Mylett. Very, very successful businessman. Had some challenging things in his childhood, but went from making, I think he's a billionaire, but making hundreds of millions of dollars to trying to share how he does it. So those are my mentors, man. I have a few real life mentors, but those are the ones when if I'm not filling my glass every day with that clear, positive energy, it absolutely starts to impact me. I'll give you an example. I kind of took some time off during Thanksgiving, right? During Thanksgiving, starting Wednesday, I kind of shut down. I wasn't listening to that stuff. I wasn't really like focused on business. By Sunday night, I was already anxious. Like that's just how I'm built. Like I can't turn it off that long.
Same here.
And as soon as Monday came around, it was back at it. And when I'm at happiest. I was listening yesterday I highly recommend it, man. I'm going to send it to you guys. It is Tony Robbins talking about Sylvester Stallone's way to get his first movie in Rocky. And so I'm jogging, my kid's in karate, I'm jogging, I drop him off, and then I just take off from his karate school. And I'm running and I'm crying, listening to the story of Sylvester Stallone and how he sold Rocky, told through Tony Robbins. It's incredible. And I'm thinking, why am I crying? And I'm like, you know what? I'm lucky that I react this way to this beautiful message. So, I hope as many people can go and really fill their glass every day with those things, because it's made a profound impact.
Well, Representative, we really do appreciate it. Thanks for your positivity. Very much appreciated. And thanks for coming on today.
It's my pleasure, guys. This is fantastic. There needs to be more of this. I think that moments like this, opportunities like this to get to know people well beyond, what they're having to say on the mic or on the dais or in committee or whatever, it really does make a difference. When you get to know someone, you want to help them, right? You have a connection with them. So I think this is the personal things that we need to do to make our process better. So my hat's off to you, gentlemen.